My wife came back after 2 weeks away with her ex. She called it closure. I didn't challenge her, didn't change my tone. While clearing the table, I asked one simple question. She froze halfway through, standing up, didn't look at me, didn't sit back down, just reached for her phone with shaking hands. I'm 37, and I thought I knew my wife. We'd been married for 9 years, met in our late 20s, dated for 2 years before getting married, built what I thought was a solid life together. She worked in marketing, I had my own career, we had a house, a dog, routines that felt comfortable. No kids yet, but we'd been talking about it. About 3 months ago, her ex contacted her. The ex. The one she dated for 4 years before me. The one she said was her first real love. The one whose name still occasionally came up in stories about her 20s. He'd reached out through social media, said he was going through a divorce, wanted to reconnect with old friends. Innocent enough, or so she presented it. She asked if I minded if she grabbed coffee with him. Just coffee. Just catching up. I said fine, because what else was I supposed to say? If I'd said no, I'd be the controlling husband. So I said yes, and tried not to think about it. One coffee turned into regular texts. I'd see her smiling at her phone in ways she hadn't smiled at me in months. When I asked about it, she'd say they were just talking, old memories, nothing serious. Then came the request that changed everything. He's really struggling with the divorce, she said one night while we were getting ready for bed. He asked if I'd be willing to spend some time with him, help him process things. He doesn't have anyone else. Spend time with him how? He wants to take a trip, the place we used to go when we were dating. He thinks it would help him find closure. I stopped brushing my teeth. A trip. Just a weekend, maybe a week. He needs support. And he wants his ex-girlfriend to provide that support while he's going through a divorce? It's not like that. What's it like then? It's closure. For both of us. We never really ended things properly. It just fizzled out. He thinks if we can revisit that place, have some real conversations, we can both move forward. You want to take a week-long trip with your ex-boyfriend to get closure. When you say it like that, it sounds bad. How else should I say it? She sat on the edge of the bed. I need this. I didn't realize how much unresolved stuff I still had with him until we started talking again. It's affecting us, our marriage. I can feel it. Our marriage was fine until he showed up. Was it? Be honest. That stopped me, because she was right in a way. Things had been fine, comfortable, maybe too comfortable. Maybe we'd been coasting, but I didn't think the solution was her running off with an ex-boyfriend. How long? I asked. 2 weeks. 2 weeks? He wants to really work through things, not rush it. And you agreed to this? I told him I needed to talk to you first. But yes, I want to go. I need to go. I think it will help us. Help me figure out what I really want. That last sentence hung in the air like poison. What you really want? You're not sure anymore? I'm saying I have things to work through, and I can't do that while I'm here, living our normal life. I need space to think. We argued for another hour. I said it was insane. She said I was being insecure. I said she was asking permission to have an emotional affair. She said I was making it into something it wasn't. Round and round until I was exhausted. In the end, I didn't explicitly say yes. But I didn't say no either. I just went silent, and she took that as permission. She left 3 days later, packed a suitcase, kissed me on the cheek like she was leaving for a work conference, and drove away. Update 1. The first week was hell. She texted sporadically, made it safely. Weather is nice. Having good conversations. Nothing substantial. Nothing that told me what was actually happening. I tried to keep busy, went to work, came home, walked the dog, watched shows I didn't care about. Friends asked where she was. I said she was visiting family. I wasn't about to admit my wife was on a 2-week romantic getaway with her ex under the guise of closure. By day 10, the texts stopped completely. Nothing for 3 days. I called twice. Both went to voicemail. I texted asking if she was okay. No response. On day 13, I got a single message. Coming home tomorrow. We should talk. She walked in the door at 6:30 on a Tuesday evening, tanned, relaxed, looking more at peace than I'd seen her in years. She hugged me, and I stood there with my arms at my sides, not sure what to do. How was it? I asked. Good, really good. I'm glad I went. Did you get your closure? I think so. Yeah, she didn't elaborate. Just started unpacking her suitcase, hanging clothes back in the closet like nothing had happened. Like she'd been gone for a normal trip and not 2 weeks with an ex-boyfriend I'd been imagining her with every single night. Are we going to talk about it? I asked. Let me settle in first. I'm exhausted. She showered, changed into comfortable clothes, came downstairs. I'd made dinner, nothing fancy, just pasta, and we sat across from each other at the kitchen table. So, I said. So, tell me about the trip. It was what I needed. We talked a lot, worked through old feelings. I understand now why things ended with us, why they had to end. And I have clarity now about what I want. My stomach dropped, which is, I want to make our marriage work. I know that now. Being with him made me realize what I have with you. I should have felt relieved. Instead, I felt suspicious. Being with him. Spending time with him, talking with him, you know what I mean. Do I? She reached across the table for my hand. I moved it to pick up my water glass. Her hand hung in the air for a second before she pulled it back. I know this is weird. I know it's not conventional, but I'm being honest with you. I needed to do this to know for sure, and now I know. I want us. We ate in silence for a few minutes. I was trying to process, trying to figure out if I believed her, trying to decide if it even mattered if I believed her. Did you sleep with him? I asked finally. Is that really what matters? Yes. I don't think we should focus on physical details. What matters is where we go from here. That's not an answer. I'm not going to give you an answer that lets you torture yourself with images. It's not helpful. But it happened. She didn't respond. Just looked down at her plate. I stood up, started clearing the table. She stood too, gathering her dishes. We moved around the kitchen in a choreographed silence. Her washing, me drying. Like we'd done 1,000 times before. While I was putting a plate in the cabinet, I asked it. The question that had been forming in my mind since she walked in the door. If he wasn't going through a divorce, I said, voice completely calm, if he was available, would you have come back? She froze. Halfway through standing up from loading the dishwasher. Didn't look at me. Didn't sit back down. Just stood there, bent at an awkward angle, one hand still on the dishwasher door. Then she reached for her phone with shaking hands. Update 2. What are you doing? I asked. I need to call someone. Who? My sister. I need to talk to my sister. Answer my question first. She straightened up, phone clutched in both hands. That's not fair. That's a hypothetical that doesn't mean anything. It means everything. Answer it. I'm here, aren't I? I came back. Because he's not available. Because he's going through a divorce and probably told you he wasn't ready for something serious. Answer the question. If he was available, would you be standing in this kitchen right now? Her face crumpled. I don't know. You don't know. I'm confused. I thought I had clarity, but now you're asking these questions and I'm confused again. You're confused because you know the answer and you don't want to say it. That's not fair. You spent 2 weeks with your ex-boyfriend, probably sleeping with him, definitely falling back in love with him, and you came back here because it didn't work out. Not because you chose me, because he wasn't an option. And now you're trying to reframe it as some kind of journey of self-discovery that led you back to our marriage. You're twisting everything. Am I? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me he said he wanted to be with you, and you said no because you're married. Tell me that happened. She couldn't. She just stood there, tears running down her face, phone still in her hands. Call your sister, I said. I'm going for a drive. I grabbed my keys and left, drove around for 2 hours with no destination. My phone rang 6 times. I didn't answer. When I finally came back, it was almost midnight. Her sister's car was in the driveway. I went to a hotel. Update 3, I stayed at that hotel for 3 days. She texted constantly, called, begged me to come home so we could talk. Her sister texted too, saying I was being unreasonable, that I needed to at least hear her out. On day 3, I went back to the house while she was at work, packed a bag with enough clothes for a week, left my wedding ring on the kitchen counter. That got her attention. She came home early, found me loading the last of my things into my car. What are you doing? Leaving. You can't just leave. Watch me. We need to talk about this. There's nothing to talk about. You made your choice. You're just upset it didn't work out the way you wanted. That's not true. Then tell me what is true. Tell me exactly what happened on that trip. She looked at me, mouth opening and closing, trying to find words that would make this okay. There weren't any. We were together, she said finally. Not the whole time. But yes, we were together. And I thought maybe we could try again. But he said he wasn't ready. He said he needed time to process his divorce, to figure out what he wanted. He said maybe in a year, if we were both still available. He benched you. What? He benched you. Put you on hold. And you came back here because you couldn't just sit around waiting for him. No! I came back because I realized this is where I belong. You realized that after he rejected you. Not before. Not during. After. She started sobbing. I made a mistake. I know I did. But I'm here now, trying to fix it, and you won't even give me a chance. A chance? You want me to give you a chance? You took 2 weeks to give him a chance. 2 weeks of my life, where I sat here wondering if my wife was falling back in love with someone else. And I was right. She was. The only reason you're standing here is because he said no. And you want me to just accept that and move on? I love you. No. You love the safety of this. You love having someone who will be here when your romantic adventures don't work out. But you don't love me. Not the way a wife should love a husband. I got in my car. She grabbed the door, trying to keep me from closing it. Please don't do this. Please. We can go to counseling. We can work through this. Let go of the door. I won't. I won't let you leave like this. You let yourself leave for 2 weeks. I can leave for however long I want. I pulled the door closed, started the engine. She stood in the driveway crying as I drove away. Update 4. I stayed with a friend for a week. My phone never stopped. Her texts evolved from apologetic to angry to desperate. Her sister called, her mother called, even her father called, telling me I was throwing away a good marriage over a mistake. A mistake. Like she'd forgotten to pick up milk, not had a 2-week affair with her ex. On day 8, I finally called a lawyer, just to understand my options. The lawyer was straightforward. It would be messy, but doable. We'd been married 9 years, had joint assets, a house. It would take time, but it could be done. I didn't file immediately. I just sat with the information, tried to figure out what I actually wanted. Did I want to divorce her? Part of me did. The part that felt betrayed, humiliated, replaced. But another part, the part that remembered 9 years of mostly good times, that part hesitated. On day 12, she showed up at my friend's place. I don't know how she found me, but she did. We need to talk, she said when I opened the door. I don't think we do. Please, just give me 30 minutes. That's all I'm asking. Against my better judgment, I let her in. We sat in my friend's living room. He'd made himself scarce, and she talked. Told me everything. How the trip started innocent. Really was just talking at first. But then old feelings came back. The familiarity, the history, the nostalgia. They slept together on night 4, spent the next week acting like a couple again. On the last night, she'd asked him what this meant, if they were getting back together. He'd said he wasn't ready, needed time, maybe someday. She'd spent the entire drive home trying to figure out what to do. Came to the conclusion that she'd made a massive mistake, that what she had with me was real and lasting, and what she had with him was just nostalgia. "I don't believe you," I said when she finished. "I'm telling the truth. I believe you're telling the truth about what happened. I don't believe you about your feelings. I think you're here because plan A didn't work out and I'm plan B, and I'm not interested in being anyone's backup plan." "You're not my backup plan." "Then what am I? Because from where I'm sitting, you left your husband to see if you could rekindle things with an ex. It didn't work out. Now you're back, trying to salvage what you threw away. That's literally the definition of a backup plan. I love you. I know I hurt you. I know I betrayed your trust. But I do love you. And I want to fix this." "How? How do you fix this? How do I ever trust you again? How do I not wonder every time you text someone or take a work trip or say you need space if you're going back to him? We can go to counseling. Counseling is for people who want to save something worth saving. I'm not sure this is anymore." She left an hour later. I'd promised to think about it, to consider counseling. But honestly, I'd already made up my mind. Final update: I filed for divorce 2 weeks later. She didn't contest it. Didn't fight me on anything. We split assets fairly, sold the house, divided everything down the middle. The divorce was finalized 4 months after she took that trip. 9 years of marriage ended because she couldn't let go of an ex-boyfriend. I found out later, through mutual friends, that she and the ex did get back together, about 5 months after our divorce. Apparently, he'd processed his divorce and was ready to try again. They lasted 6 months before breaking up again. Something about old patterns repeating, neither of them being willing to change. She tried to reach out to me after that breakup. Long message about how she'd ruined the best thing in her life, how she understood now what she'd lost, how she'd spent the past year learning hard lessons about herself. I didn't respond. Because here's what I learned. Some people need to blow up their entire life to figure out what they want. And some people, like me, need to let them do it and walk away. Could I have fought for the marriage? Gone to counseling? Tried to work through the betrayal? Maybe. But I asked myself that question while clearing the table, and her reaction told me everything I needed to know. She froze because she knew the truth. If he'd been available, if he'd said yes, she wouldn't have come back. And I refuse to spend my life wondering if I'm someone's second choice. I'm 37 years old. I'm divorced. I'm living in a smaller apartment and rebuilding my life from scratch. But I'm not anyone's backup plan anymore. And honestly, that feels better than the last year of my marriage ever did. She wanted closure with him. I got closure from her. Funny how that works.